Good morning and welcome to part 3, the third and final part of the Bowtie Life Garden Tours for September of 2023. Today's date is September 17th. I'm sorry, 18th. It's the morning and the sun is rising and the backyard is in shade. You can see here in the corner, we're gonna have the little map. Actually, I'm gonna put it up right here. We'll have the little map. We're only going to be showing the raised garden beds in the corner down here. Down here? Ooh, boy, I'm so confused. Anyway, we'll put it in the corner here. But yeah, we're gonna go through the raised beds of the garden, of the backyard garden, and some things are happening. Now, we've seen a few things in the first and second parts of this month's garden tours. I think the raised beds are the most exciting this month. You remember last month it was kind of a depressing month because of the month. It's September. Things are not producing because it's hot in the panhandle of Florida, Destin, Florida. It's very discouraging for August, and it probably will be most Augusts in the future. But September, woo, our weather has changed. It is beautiful. We've had 3 months of over 90-degree weather, and here's the interesting thing about the weather here when you're surrounded by the very large Choctawhatchee Bay on that side and the Gulf of Mexico on this side. Your highs, they don't get as high as the mainland, which is nice, but your lows are only about a few degrees lower. So your temperature just has a very slight variation from highs to lows, and personally, I know I can handle the hotter temperatures if we get a cold temperature at night. Back in Arkansas, that's the way it was. We might get 100 degrees in the day, but we get 60 in the evening, and I'll get out in the morning and enjoy it until about 10 o'clock. Here, in the middle of the summer, the high is like 95 and the low sometimes is 91. And so we don't see anything, and the body just doesn't get a chance to reset in the cool end, unless you're going indoors in the air conditioner, of course, but that doesn't really count because the outdoor cool is different. We all know that. So anyway, if you have not subscribed yet, please do. We have a lot of people watching that have not subscribed. We're trying to build up our subscribership here and build our community amongst all the communities of the internet for gardening and homesteading. I don't consider myself a homesteader, but I do consider it a garden. We have converted almost every corner of our property into gardens, and we're still going. We're still converting. This is month 23 of living here, and it's been fun. I'm just enjoying it. I love this. So anyway, let's take a look around here, and we're gonna start right here with our GreenStalk. And some things have gone on. There's a few weeds. Oh wait, is that a weed? I'm going to presume it is. We're gonna pull that out of there. I think it's a weed. Okay, anyway, here we go. Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. So if you've been following along, you know that we planted up this GreenStalk earlier this year, brand new for us, and I really have enjoyed it, playing with it, which is really what I'm doing this year. I'm playing with it. We do have some weeds in here, which is, expected. Birds do fly through here, so weeds will, seeds will get dropped. We do have here some parsley. The parsley looks wonderful. I planted that for Mrs Bowtie. We have not had a lot of opportunity to use that yet. We do, however, now, one of the last, in fact, on the last garden tour, we were talking about the runners, and this that's a new runner. Here it is. This is a runner from this plant down here and from this plant down here. So we took this runner, we brought it up here, and then we continued it up here. Now this thing is taken off. This thing has its own leaves. This thing is thriving. One of these leaves needs to be pulled. There we go. But just from a month ago, 4 weeks ago, actually probably 22 days ago, this thing has just taken off. It's obviously got its roots going now. This one here is just taken off. Strawberries looking good. The parsley here is looking fine too. I do turn this as often as I remember. This is basil here. Oh, basil, you rub it, smell your hands. Oh, it's the most amazing smell. Genovese basil is what I grow on our property. But I think I saw, if I come around this side, I thought I saw some dill this morning. Oh, yep, here's my wimpy little dill plant. I haven't been successful with dill yet, and mainly because I really haven't tried very hard. But the strawberries are mainly here to propagate my crops, make sure they continue. These are mostly Ozark Beauty. I think there may be a Walmart seed in here somewhere, but mostly Ozark Beauty. But yeah, I mean, you can see the parsley is just, there's parsley coming out in the middle of something else. And parsley looks like my cilantro deceased, which is no surprise. I planted, in fact, this might have been cilantro right there. Yep, that was it. That was probably my last cilantro right there. Cilantro is not a warm weather plant. Contrary to popular belief, we think, oh, cilantro, salsa, whatever we put it in, hot summer food, you know. Oh, here's another dill right here. That's cool. It's a little bigger. But yeah, mostly the thing that's surviving here mostly is going to be the parsley, strawberry, and basil. And that leads us on to bed number 1. Now we have 3 raised beds back here. I like to think that this is where the main event is happening in these beds, and this year it really is. We do have a lot of weeds through here. As I've said in the previous 2 parts of this garden tour, we traveled a lot this summer. Not exactly according to plan. We ended up having to go, I stayed at the cabin 4 times up in Arkansas. We actually ended up selling it. And then we went on a cruise, which was obviously planned. But you can see here, we have a Kajari melon. Now, this got a late start. If our weather does good this winter, we might, emphasis on might, get something out of it. Incidentally, my sleeve, I am currently wearing some of my bow tie handyman outfits. So that's actually paint. The shirt is actually freshly laundered, but there's paint from various jobs. I end up saving some of my shirts for messier jobs like painting and spraying and stuff. So it's not as dirty as it looks. Anyway, so yeah, I have not observed any female flowers out here yet. I'm looking here for a female flower. No, I still don't see any female flowers. No, that's not one. So yeah, it's all male flowers. Male flowers just have a straight, and let me see if I can get this in better profile so you can see that straight stem right there. That is where you would see, if it's a female flower, you would see a small fruit right there. These are male flowers. Male flowers are always the ones to come out first, and eventually it will start developing the female flowers. So that's just the normal cycle of most melons and things like that have male and female flowers. So next to the Kajari melon, we have ginger. Now, we have a lot of ginger through here. It spreads all the way over here. The cool thing is, I've actually been using some of this. What you do is you come in here and pick through the weeds, of course. But when you pick through the weeds, you can see the ginger here. These are ginger, and it comes all the way over to here. And you can actually, you take your finger and dig out some dirt, and I could actually break this off right here and have a couple pieces of ginger to use for the next week if I wanted to, or to give away. I've given some to friends. So fresh like this, it is potent. That is just how ginger is. It is very potent. And yeah, So, I love ginger. I love me some ginger. You don't have to use nearly as much when it's fresh like that. If you cure it and let it sit for a while, it changes the makeup of it, and it's used differently. So anyway, ginger is doing pretty good. I do have it under shade cloth. Don't really need to. Ginger loves the sun, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do up here. I have a feeling we're going to end up doing something a little different with this shade cloth. Maybe because, well, you can see it's folded down here because of the peach tree here, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I'm thinking about possibly folding it over so that the ginger here can get the full sun. So anyway, right next to the ginger on this arch trellis, on one side we have living Suyo long cucumbers, and on the other side we still have not cleaned up the dead Suyo long cucumbers. But over here on the living side, again, just like the Kajari melon, as these things grow up, now these are the EMERSON cucumbers. My grandson Emerson helped grow these, and there's flowers all over it, but they're all male flowers. So I don't see any female flowers here either. This got planted about the same time as those Kajari melons, and I'm just looking for everywhere for a single female flower, but I do not see it anywhere. So, and that's not unusual. Again, these things do all the male flowers. This thing will start, if it can get happy, it'll start shooting out those female flowers, and with our weather turning the way it is, it's going to get happy pretty soon. I could come through here and remove some of the dying leaves in here to help it along, but I hope I didn't just kill that one. But I'm not that, I'm lazier than that. So that's just kind of how things happen. In the end of this jungle, we have, now we'll talk about the jungle here in just a second. The blackberries, they're growing all up through. In fact, you can see a big vine right here growing up, and all these blackberries, they're going every direction. And I've just started experimenting with, so if you don't know, that's the okra jungle. We'll come around the other side and in fact, you can see one right there, ready to get harvested right now. So I need to get that out. But anyway, the blackberry is going crazy over here, and it's actually growing. If I back up, you can see it's actually growing on top of the shade cloth, which is amazing. This stuff is just taking off. You can see there's one taking off way over there. So yeah, the blackberries are going crazy. These are all first year primocanes. They grow blackberries on their floricanes, which is the second year of the canes. And so hopefully this year, this will be covered with blackberries. That's what I'm hoping. Lots of sun. They really love the sun. Hopefully, if they survive through the winter, they will be looking gorgeous. So yeah, the okra. In fact, you can see okra growing way up behind over there. That's okra. This is my okra forest. And this one here, ready to harvest. I'm not going to pull it because they're kind of hard to pull off, and I don't want to break the vine. But there are okra all through there. You can see there's a couple up there, just kind of looking through the blue blackberries. Let's go walk around. I'm going to go over here because I actually have a ladder right there, and I'm going to go up that ladder real quick and show you from the top. So there's my ladder. It's only set to 5 feet, but that's about 8 foot high. The top of that is about 8 foot high. And so when I climb up here and look with the sun behind us, this is the view of the okra. In fact, here's some okra right there. You can see across there, there's a lot to be harvested. There's one over here to be harvested. There's a lot to be harvested in here. This thing, I can come out and harvest this every other day and get something off of it. Every 3 days, I get a little over half a pound. I get a little over a pound every 3 days. So at 3 days, you start getting some that are too developed. And some is okay. 4 days, you really start getting overdeveloped stuff. But we're way up in the air here. The camera is probably 2 feet above the 8-foot mark, so we're looking down 10 feet, and this thing is still taller. So the tops of these are 10 foot above ground. Let's go ahead and go down and take a look at it from the bottom down there. So there's the ladder. We're on the other side, and this is the south side of the okra. Now, okra loves sun, obviously. I mean, look at it growing. It is enormous. Okra does love the sun, and there's a lot of okra in there to be harvested, more okra growing. There's okra flowering up in there, mostly up here in the tops. There's a beautiful flower just about to come out up there. I did see a pretty flower here somewhere. See if I can get a B-roll of it right here. But yeah, this stuff is thick, really thick. In fact, if I slip the camera in here, you can kind of get an idea of the forest under here. It's like a forest, isn't it? It's amazing. But again, look at here. This is a blackberry. Come all the way through. Come on over here. This is the amazing one right here. This blackberry vine right here goes all the way through. It's actually rooted somewhere over there, and it goes back over there, which is about 6 feet away. So it's gone through the okra 6 feet and come out the other side. So yeah, I think that's interesting. Next year I'm going to try to bank on that and see what can be done with this. I think it's very exciting. All this is exciting. I can't believe how much I'm growing here. This is a leaf flower that is growing. It's prolific in our garden. It's the thing I pull most, but the cool thing is it comes out root ball intact. So it's pretty easy to pull. Now there's this thing right here. Anybody recognize that? Maybe not without the flowers that it's supposed to put out, but this is a marigold. It has put out one small flower, and it's kind of in the shade of the edge of this okra right here. So I don't think it's getting the full sun it could, and it's just not producing as good. It's a huge plant. It actually goes from here all the way to over there, about 3 foot across. But it's just not producing. So you can see blackberries just crawling through this though. That is kind of cool. There it is coming out the side over here. I have to be careful when I mow. In fact, you can see I didn't even mow under here, because I want to encourage, I really need to get this trained up side somewhere. I was hoping to plant some more cucumbers, the Suyo long cucumbers on this side, but I kind of shifted and started transferring all the blackberry this way. I mean, look at this. It's gone all the way over the grow basket right there, and it's heading down down to there. These things are growing like crazy. Blackberry grows very long, apparently. So that's bed number 1. We got the peach tree. I did paint the trunk of this peach tree. It's got some pretty bad sunburn on it from before we even moved here. I'm pretty sure this is sunburn all on the south side of this and southwest side. These are the parts of the tree that get direct sun on the trunk and not enough leaf cover. So I really have to do something with this peach tree to get it to healthy and hopefully one day producing. But let me just back over here without the sun behind. You can see those tops are three tops about 15 foot tall, maybe 16 foot, which is what happened last year. A few tops, a lot of water shoots. I need to train some of these branches to go sideways, and I've been watching how to do this, and I just need to do it. Try to train some more to come this way to overcome that lean a little bit. So I do want to cover the bee box up here. We have not had anything here yet, so I did notice it's starting to come apart here. This was not a very expensive bee box, so I don't know, it was my first choice. Next time I'm going to go to Crown Bees and get a real one, get a real high quality one. So that's been I don't want to call it a failure. It hasn't been an overwhelming success. So anyway, Okay, so at the base of the peach tree we have the turmeric. We've been getting some nice rains, so this thing has new growth coming out of it. There's one shoot over here and a couple of shoots right there that look good. Turmeric is a very slow grower. Unlike ginger, which is right there, ginger grows the same way. It's a root. You stick it in the ground, boom, it shoots up. Turmeric, you stick it in the ground, and about a month and a half later, it pops up. And you'll swear that it's dead when it finally does come up. So don't get discouraged growing turmeric. It is just that way. It's just a slow grower. So bed number 2. Again, we have our cucumbers here. And we have something, I was trying to plant some dino kale right here and here to grow over the winter that would actually outlive these cucumbers. They still have not come up. I just direct sowed them. One day I just threw a couple of seeds in the ground just to see if anything would happen. And it's got a lot of wood chip and stuff in there. So I'm not surprised. I'm actually going to be seed starting those. In fact, if you keep an eye on the channel, here shortly we're going to be seed starting several fall crops. But these are Suyo long cucumbers. Now these are a little younger than Emerson's cucumbers over here in bed number 2. However, you'll notice there's very few flowers out on it, but if you look down here, and I did look at this, you can see that the flowers are just where to go. I just saw, well, I saw a flower. Where did I see that? There is a, oh, there it is, I see it. It's underneath this, there, see there's one flower. It is a male flower because the stem is straight. There's nothing under it. There's no fruit under it. So that is one of the first male flowers on this whole set of, I don't know, 3 to 6 plants that are going to climb this. And again, our weather in Florida, sometimes we can continue to harvest all the way through Christmas, and it's September right now. So we got another 90 days for this to do something. So, and it can do that. It can do that. So I'm kind of holding out hope for that. So it's definitely not a loss. Now in a lot of parts of the country, planting in September like this, you wouldn't make it because your first frost is September. So you got to keep an eye on your first frost dates for the winter. And you can find that very easily by just searching Google and say first frost date and then your zip code or your closest city name, and you can come up with it pretty easily. And that's an average. So it could be before that, it could be after that. So just kind of gives you a guide. Okay, the bean wall. The bean wall is looking not quite as good as last year. Now last year we had a very large tree here that kind of created a lot of evening shade for this area. So these beans did phenomenally last year. Now, here's the interesting thing. Down here on the end, where it's kind of got a little bit of shade cover, look how green it is. And it kind of fades, and out in the very middle, it looks terrible, and then the other end gets green. So I actually have shade cloth for this area, but by the time I got it, it was really when I was in that traveling period, and I didn't get a lot done. But I will say, just like the ones in the front, these are starting to set buds all over the place, which they haven't been doing for the past few months because of the heat. We've had very hot weather, but I almost bet, I was hoping to find a bean or two up in here. And I am not. So it's not a bad thing. It's just not quite there. I mean, look at all these buds that are just setting everywhere. So it will be developing very, very soon. In fact, I really want to get out to the other side to see if, I just said out like a Canadian. I'm not Canadian, but I did just travel with some Canadians. Hey guys. Yeah, I'm looking. I'm gonna just step over to the other side of this. I am a little surprised that I'm not seeing any beans whatsoever. Normally, they are they start to get prolific right about now is when they start. When our weather has changed, things have cooled, things start looking better. But again, you can see there's some wear and tear here because of the 3 months of sun. Now here is an old bean. I have seen a few of these in here, beans I missed. As soon as a vine starts putting out beans and you let them dry, they're gonna die, which is what some of those dead ones are. They are vines that produce their seed, they've accomplished their goal in life, and they've given up their will to live, so to speak. And there's a lot of dead ones. I'm not going to pull out the dead ones until everything is spent, but it's going to make it a little hard. I probably should do a little bit of cleanup. But yeah, I'm very surprised at no beans. I thought for sure I would see something. We saw some up front underneath that shade cloth, which really tells me that I wonder if I had had the shade cloth up here, this probably would be producing by now. It would not have been fried by the sun all summer with the heat that's too hot for it to produce beans. So you get above 90, 92 degrees Fahrenheit, it starts to get toasty, and too toasty for these buds. Basically what happens is these buds will come out briefly and then they'll just fall off. And that's what happens in the summer. But I mean, look at here, I can see just tons of buds coming out all over the place. So this thing is gonna do really good. Here, give it a couple of weeks, we're gonna have beans off of this. So I'm gonna go back, actually, we're gonna come down here around the end of bed number 2, and we'll then look at the back side of these beans afterwards, but I wanted to show you this. Now this is the first year I've grown this, and this is an Everglades tomato from Dave's the Good. It is massive, and of course, like everything else, it stopped producing. Interestingly enough, it produced longer than any of the other tomatoes. Now the Everglades tomato is a little tiny marble-shaped tomato. It's not very big, very tiny cherry tomato, and it hasn't been setting fruit, but look at the fruit, look at the buds on it. It is about to explode. I mean, you can see buds everywhere on this. Look at that, there. I mean, just tons and tons of buds, and it's just tumbled over. Now, it has tumbled over here, and it's kind of taken this whole area, and I know we have mature Everglades tomatoes that fell in the ground here and in the ground under there, which means this may be a permanent installation here forevermore. So, which I don't mind. But look, it's grown all the way past the end of bed number 2. He is huge. The other thing that's grown under here, in fact, if I can reach up here, just barely at the extent of my reach, all this growing up in here, these are Supersweet 100 vines. And they're starting to set buds too, not as far advanced as the Everglades, but I'm just barely starting. And Dave the Good says that these Everglades tomatoes are a lot more heat resilient than most tomatoes. They are Everglades tomatoes, which is Florida, so they are more used to the heat. And our heat is not terrible here, but we do have heat. And and you can see now, somewhere right in here is where the Supersweet 100s start. And I kind of left it on this arch trellis. In fact, all that up there is Supersweet 100 going all the way over there. We'll talk about bed number 3 in just a minute, but you can see it's thick in there. And no, I have not trimmed anything. I have not cleaned up anything because we've been traveling. Interesting thing though, underneath there, see that green thing right there? That's a basil plant. A non-seeded, a non-flowering basil plant right now. It's going to flower, but it hasn't had a chance because it doesn't have the sun. So that's kind of cool. Put it underneath the tomato plants, and it really seems to be thriving under there. I'll bet you that's going to be the best tasting basil I have. But see, all this, these are Supersweet 100 vines. 1, 2, there's supposed to be one more. Oh, that's right. I had tried to plant a cutting over here and it never took, so that's not a surprise. Sometimes when you just stick cuttings in the ground, they don't work. But This is, I'm pretty sure this is a Supersweet 100. I haven't followed it to its base, but we'll find out. It's huge. Either way, it's huge. It's growing out so far from the base over here. This here, I'm pretty sure is Everglades tomato though. So right down here at the end, here we're back to the other side of the bean wall right here. And again, I'm looking at the beans for mature beans and I don't see any. So we have our Peppadew and a few weeds. Again, leaf flower. I don't mind. I mean, yeah, I do mind leaf flower, but they come up roots intact for the most part. I just pull them out easily. They're not hard to pull. Probably some of the easiest stuff to pull. So now while I'm doing this, I know jillions of seeds are falling in there and it's just going to be the way it is. So I'll throw those over on the patio because I'll pick it up later. We have 3 Peppadew plants and I've actually just harvested several off of these. In fact, we were on a cruise ship and they served us Peppadews. This is what they look like. They'll get a little redder, but this guy is just a little almost ready. I could pick it now. You can pick peppers anytime. Longer you leave them on the vine, the hotter they'll be. But we got a couple more down the other end. But we come into our, and we kind of have a mix here. First we have Dragon Cayenne, then we have Thai Hot, Dragon Cayenne, Thai Hot. So 4 plants here in a row. Now, interesting thing is this Cayenne, notice it's sticking straight up. As it matures, it will start to hang. That's the Dragon Cayenne. And you can see down here we have some hanging, and they are a little bit lazy. They will hang like that. The Thai Hot is just the opposite. They will start sticking up, and then as they mature, they will stay sticking up. And you can see this plant has a whole bunch of Thai Hot peppers on it, which is really nice. I just harvested a whole bunch off this Dragon Cayenne right here. There are some green ones in there, but you can see they're hanging down. And then comes to the impressive Thai Hot. Look at this thing here. Look how many Thai Hot peppers. This is just prolific. I mean, just crazy prolific. And all these will turn red. There was a red one right here. Well, you can harvest these anytime, but Thai Hots are one you harvest after they turn red. So we have a friend at church that likes those. Some of those will make it to her. I think she has a plant. I gave her a plant, but hers just isn't doing well. So here is a basil plant. Now this basil plant, Genovese basil, is kind of gotten heavy. It's kind of flowing over the edge here. I had been pulling the flower tips off it, but you see how yellow it's getting? I am going to be letting this thing go. So I will be letting any more flowering tips come on this because it is just getting tired. And there are some flowering tips in there. The flowering tips will actually make it turn a little bit bitter from what I understand. I'm not the person to be able to determine what bitter is on basil. We eat some, but not very much basil. But main reason I plant basil is because it confuses the pests. It's a great pest confuser. And I've been growing basil for about 4 years now. So coming over here, we have our last 2 Peppadew, one here, one here. This is a newer plant than the other. You can see there is a Peppadew under there. That looks about ready. Now these things have the heat supposed to be a little milder than a jalapeno, and they are. Not much. They are a little bit milder. Me and my Canadian friend, we had a Peppadew eating. The chef sent out 2 small bowls of these to us because he came out and talked to us, and he had actually recommended Peppadew a year ago. Next month he recommended Peppadew. He served them and told us what they were, and I was like, oh, I got to grow these in the garden. They're great milder pepper. And mind you, they have a little heat, but anyway, so Chef Mateo, he recommended the Peppadew, said this is what he was serving, and after we had our conversation, he sent out 2 little bowls, one for me and one for my friend Pierre, and our wives kind of laughed at us as we ate them, and you know, hot peppers. I'm wondering, is this a magnolia down here. I was trying to figure out what this was as I was talking. I see a tag here. Yes, it is a magnolia. Okay, so there is a magnolia kind of stuffed in the middle here. I have not seen any blooms come off of this, so whatever. Yeah, so that's bed number 2. Yeah, I have mulched with a bag of garden soil. That'll kill the weeds under there. You talk about lazy, there you go. That is the epitome of lazy. So coming off the end of bed number 2 were all those Everglades, these Everglades tomato, whatever. Anyway, the space here between, we have a lot of aloe. They are growing strong. I really hope that next year we'll start getting blooms off of these again. We didn't this past year because of the freeze. I do clean out the grass in here once every, I don't know, 4 months or so. With the traveling, I'm kind of behind on everything. So the grass does grow up fast and got to take care of that eventually. But, you know, life goes on. So come around the end of bed number 3 and the pepper bed. And of course, if you've seen my pepper update, my short, look at this Tabasco. All those little things, these are Tabasco peppers. And I just harvested a whole bunch. I just did a video on making southern hot pepper sauce. This is the pepper that's done with. They start with as a green. Let me see if I can find an unripe one here. They start off as a light green like this. Then they turn a little bit yellow, and then they turn more of an orange. And then they turn more of a, and I think I may have picked all the red one. Well, there's a less orange one back there. I picked all the red ones because it just simply made the, oh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful orange? But they turn red after that. So yeah, and you pick these, and the amazing thing is this thing, go back and look at that short. See how full this was. I harvested probably less than a third of it. I didn't harvest nearly as much as I was trying to, but look, it's already starting to shoot blooms under there, getting ready for the next flush. And we have 3 more months, so we might get 2 more flushes out of this thing. I love this Tabasco. This is the 2nd year I've had Tabasco. This is by far my biggest plant. It's probably 4.5 feet tall down to the dirt into the bottom there. So beautiful. There's a jalapeno kind of stuck underneath here. You can see there's a red jalapeno ready to go. Oh, look at that. It just popped off just nice. We'll save that for the closing talk here, the summary on this. Behind this is a row of 3 Scotch bonnet. And again, I've harvested a whole bunch of Scotch bonnet. Look how beautiful these are. Now I just recently fermented a whole 2 quarts of these. We're going to do a hot pepper sauce with these fermented. But you can see over there, there's just tons and tons of them. And looky what we have here. Oh, a welcome guest. Now, folks, this is the ladybug. And the ladybug is a welcome guest in my garden. They eat aphid. Their larvae eat aphids voraciously. And you want to see ladybugs. When you see ladybugs, woo, treat them with, oh, here's another one up here. Yeah, they're everywhere. So I have a lot of ladybugs in here. I don't see any aphids on these. I don't see aphids on the peppers very often, but yeah. So 3 Scotch bonnet in a row. I think I have a jalapeno. Oh, yeah, here's another jalapeno. Not quite ready. Mrs Bowtie is going to be making jalapeno poppers in a few days. So we're going to let those ripen as much as we can for some fresh, and I think we're going to have to tap our supply in the freezer. We have our golden cross over here from Nikki. Some of these are ready to harvest, looking really good. And look at that thing right there, looking really good. But it's really being prolific this year. This thing was planted last year. It went through the freeze in our low tunnel here and it grew back from the rootstock. So that thing, 2nd year, producing good hot peppers. On the other side over there, let's just take you over there. We have yet another ladybug, but we have a lot of blooms. Now this, you see how flat these leaves are and how crinkly these leaves are? I'm pretty sure that this is a Fatale. I've harvested a lot of Fatale right in this area. I don't see any new peppers, but I am seeing new buds. Fatale are not as prolific as some other peppers. Like this is a Peri Peri. I just saw there's a Peri Peri pepper right there. It has a sharper point. I don't have anything else currently growing in the garden that has a sharper point like that. So, yeah, this here is a Fatale, and I think I picked every last Fatale off this plant, but we're gonna have another round. Now Fatale, they're really hot. They grow a little slower than Tabasco, so that won't be as prolific as say the Tabasco. Oh yeah, here we go. There's a Fatale. That's a baby Fatale pepper right there. So that is what that plant is. We have some Peri Peri. Now down there you can see a red thing. That is a, oh no, that's a shishito. Oh, here we go. There's Peri Peri there. There's another one down there, more developed. Those, they're red. They grow red, and they are nice and hot. A lot of flavor. We have 2-gallon bags of these in the freezer right now, but this thing has tons and tons of buds on it. So this thing is going to be producing by next month. In fact, I can see there's a green one there and there's a red one way up there. So kind of pick them as they're ready. You can pick them anytime. The longer you leave them on, the hotter they'll be. We do have a habanero down here. These branches kind of mix in with this Fatale over here, which is actually growing peppers too. So we're about to have a really good month of Fatale growing in here with this plant and the plant over there. So, but the habanero, my first year with a habanero, and I will be working on those next year. I do see some habanero coming up in there. Yeah, I definitely see some habanero coming up in there. So good. We have several habanero coming. I'll have to keep an eye on that. The shishito, since I fed Mrs Bowtie shishito, or called them shishito, and they were Peri Peri, and made that mistake, and she ate a Peri Peri. She has not cooked another shishito yet. So yeah, the Mammoth Halapeno, last month, I believe I may have harvested the peppers that were on this thing. It is already growing new peppers. That means I would have harvested it about 3 weeks ago. So there's 3 weeks after it's starting to put out blooms. Now these are big jalapenos, beautiful. And next year I plan to, and of course these videos are a note to myself, I plan to have several of these Mammoth Halapenos in the garden somewhere. They are fantastic. Boy, I see little red beetles everywhere in the garden. This is so cool. Okay, so we come around. Lots of exciting things growing, of course, but we have something new, and I'm over on this side for a reason, because, anybody know what these are? Anybody know what these are? Looky here. We have 5 plants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are black jalapeno. Not jalapeno. Get jalapeno off my brain. These are Zucchini Black. Not Black Beauty, just Zucchini Black. And if you saw part 2, you remember that right there, that little mess over there, brown and green mess, that was the first attempt at Black Beauty. And I did it all wrong putting it on that weed fabric. But that's over in part 2 in the outer garden bed tours. But here you can see these things are really taking off, and they're going to take off. Now, I keep pulling the weeds, and this soil is so loose, when I pull it, comes up with a whole root ball. And what I do is I just set it here on the side so it bakes, fries, and dies. That's what I do with my weeds back here in the raised beds. But yeah, so this thing is taking off again. Well, now it's supposed to, by middle of November, which is when our average first frost is. This should be producing. Crossing fingers, hoping it's going to be a little longer till first frost, but we're crossing fingers, hoping we can finally get some zucchini. That's another one of the crops that I have not done well with. So I'm still learning. 4th year of what I call successful gardening, and I still haven't got this taken care of. Now, what is this? Oh, I see what it is. Something growing underneath there. Another weed. Well, it's a pretty plant, but I don't want it there. We come back to the end of our tomatoes. Now this right here was a Principe Borghese and another print. Now that Principe Borghese kind of died out and it's starting to produce again. So it actually has buds on it all over the place. And that's what we want to see. Last year, these actually had a second production after the heat subsided. So I have hope for that. We have 3 Nebraska Wedding in here, and they are not producing. I have not looked. Let's see if there's any buds. Now this is a larger tomato, which means they are slower to produce. But, oh, looky here. No. Yeah. Okay, so there's some buds right there. So, or one bud. Now this doesn't do as big a clusters for me as some of the other tomatoes. Certainly not cherry tomatoes, but I'm looking on another. Okay, I don't believe this may be a Nebraska Wedding, but I'm not seeing any buds on this yet. Oh, look, right, that little tiny thing right there. That may be. Oh yeah, here we go, right here. Just a little spot of buds right there. I can't tell if it's already petered out or if it's going to develop. But yeah, this is a Nebraska Wedding on this side, and then on that arch trellis you can see there's actually 1, 2, 3 Supersweet 100s growing over the trellis that way you saw earlier when I was at the end of bed number 2. But yeah, so next thing to start producing should be these Principe Borghese. There's lots of buds on them. While that's producing, those Supersweet 100s should start popping out. And then last but not least, our very favorite that we're growing is the Nebraska Wedding over here. So everything in order, some kind of order. Me and order don't go along very well. Coming around to the end of our bed, I am walking very carefully because number one, I don't want to step on a turtle. We do have had turtles up in here, but we do have the goji berry down here, and I wanted to show you. We've had our heat. The goji berry really petered out, lost a lot of its leaves, but looky here. The goji berry is coming back for its second production. So they're looking really good. We'll see if this produces some more. It did last year. It started producing again. It all petered out. Again, this video is more a note to myself. I remember last year I was really panicked that I'd killed them all. This year I was less panicked, and I'm sure next year it'll be like, oh yeah, this thing will peter out. And I actually did come through and trim out some of the dead stuff. You can see like right here, this is all dead. And you can clean those up when it's ready. But funny thing is the Supersweet 100 is kind of sneaking through, escaping its trellis over there, but that's all Supersweet 100 up there. You can see it's pushing up the shade cloth. It's pushing it up. It's trying to grow. So I'll have to stand on the wall to harvest anything off of that. But it is getting it's starting to set some buds here and there. So very excited. So there you go, garden tours for September of 2023. The sun just starting to peek up over the house over here. Lots of stuff growing in the raised beds. I think last year this time we were into peak production for the beans, and I believe next year when we get the shade cloth up for this area, we probably will this year as well. So these Thai hot peppers, oh, this one right here, I can't get over how many. There's dozens on here. Yeah, just dozens of Thai hot peppers in there developing, and cayenne everywhere. So peppers generally like the heat. There's no shade cloth over any of the peppers over there. There will be shade cloth in this area, and there's some other things I'm going to try to grow here. But we got a few places we've got to rework again and try to do something better next year. So that'll be more plans. But anywho, coming up, we have the fall seed starting video. Keep an eye out for that. Please subscribe. Make sure you don't miss that. And there was something else I was going to mention coming up. I do want to mention my other channel, Tigger Travels. It has been dormant for a number of years, or relatively dormant, and we are bringing it back, and hopefully we can get it back to being monetized here pretty soon. That has been my other monetized channel, but with the move to Florida 6 years ago and everything else happening, we kind of didn't do anything for a while there. But it was just this morning that Tigger Travels got its first short in quite a while, so we'll have to get to work on that. Not that I am doing anything else. But anyway, we're looking forward to tomatoes coming out, beans, the peppers, of course, never stopped. The okra never stopped. I would like to see another round of cucumbers if we can get them, and I'd love to see the Kajari melons come out. That's a possibility, not a guarantee at this point in the season. So if you watched last year, you might remember me planting some butternut squash or something last fall, and in the hopes of having a long enough fall to get something, but it didn't happen. And that's what happens, you know, you just kind of put it in. If it happens, it happens. I wasn't doing anything with that space. The nice thing about growing that is it created some ground cover, prevented some weeds. So if that's all I get out of it, I'm okay with that. But anyway, so my battery is dying here, and I'm getting down to the end here. So if you have not done so, please subscribe to Bowtie Life on YouTube. We are putting out videos most days, not quite every day. We did in the spring, but not right now. But we're putting out videos most days on various things. We have the garden tours, we have how-tos, we have just garden vlogging, checkups on the garden harvest and so forth. But yeah, so if you don't want to miss anything, please subscribe. We have a lot of people that watch that don't subscribe, so I'd love to see more people hitting that subscribe button and staying in touch with us. These are, what I'm about to talk about is all things that build the community, to build the Bowtie Life community, and build the overall homesteading and gardening channels community, because I believe very strongly that we are a community and we share. I watch other YouTube channels, and I've said this so many times, you can learn to garden. It is very easy. Just get in the habit of finding those places on YouTube that you want to watch, and people that speak to you, people that speak your language, people that you can relate to, and study them, learn from them, and learn how to garden. And I enjoy that so much. So be sure to subscribe, and thank you for watching. All of you who have subscribed, you have got us this far, and we're almost halfway to our first major goal. So it's very exciting. And yeah, so appreciate everyone that has subscribed and everyone that has watched the videos. That lets Google know, or YouTube and Google know, because they're the same company, lets them know that we're actually putting out something that might be useful to someone, which is what they're looking for. Additionally, if you thought this was inspirational, educational, informational, or just entertaining, watching me fail in the garden, then click the thumbs up on this video and share it on your social media, whether it's to encourage a friend who's not quite as bad as me, or just hopefully help a friend see what can be done. Then share it with your friends on social media. Help your friends out. So anyway, we're coming down to the end. Again, I'm Bowtie David for Bowtie Life, and we talk mostly about life in the garden. And this is my own personal journals. I've been doing these for almost 2 years now, coming up on 2 years in a few months. And I enjoy the videos. I've tried logging, writing, I've tried photographing, and I just can't connect to those kind of things. Logging, writing in a journal, my brain, my ADD brain just doesn't do well with it. And so that's really difficult for me. You got to find something that matches your brain, because different brains work differently. And my ADD brain, I love video, and I love being able to sit down and I'll set up, I turn on the TV and I'll play videos while I'm getting ready in the morning. And so I watch these things, I rewatch these videos frequently. And you know, once a month I've watched through most of my content, especially for the past year and a half. So yeah, I look back over these, and you are invited to join along with the misery, with the fun, with the education, with the experiments, with everything else that I try to cover in these videos. So, oh, yeah, I got a jalapeno in here. Yeah, nice red jalapeno. It's gonna be warm, which is why I'm kind of saving it to the end. The longer you leave, it's just a jalapeno. It's a small one. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's got a little bit of heat. It was a small one. That's actually about Peppadew heat. In fact, I should have picked one of those Peppadew. Oh, here it is. I'm not going to eat this, but that's what the Peppadew looks like. This one's about ready. You can pick them anytime. Again, I like to pick them after they've turned red. These Peppadew, the jalapenos, I will typically harvest a whole plant when a couple of the peppers have turned red. Yeah, that was it's got a little bit of heat to it. Very nice jalapeno. These Peppadew, a little bit milder than the jalapeno. That was a pretty mild jalapeno. In the winter, when it's not hot, when it's not as long as sun, jalapenos, I've actually had jalapenos that have zero heat. So they like the sun, they like the heat, and they'll get hot with that. But anyway, there you go. One last pepper eaten for this month's video tours. We're at the very end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did not watch the first two parts, at the closing screen where it's all white with the logo and everything, there's going to be two links to the first two parts on the video on the right side of the screen. On the left side is the whole playlist of garden tours for 2023 that you can go through if you wish. And again, be sure to subscribe while you're there. So it's been fun. Looking forward to next month, which marks 2 years being in the new house. So very excited about all that. So anyway, y'all have a blessed day.